Well, hey everyone, and welcome to another episode with your girl Audrey Codner from ACG Math Tutoring. Well, who's having a shitty birthday? That would be me. But it's not over, so there is definitely time for it to turn around. But anyway, this is why I come on, because I know for sure I am going to have a great live with you guys. I'm going to be able to help students out at the same time. And that is the whole gist. So what we're working on is the HESI. I finally got Notion. The HESI math prep. So the algebra part of the HESI test. So if you are taking your nursing certificate, even the TEAS test, it's basically the same algebra. Algebra is the same everywhere you go. 2 plus 2, 2 times 2, 2 squared, it still gives you the same answer of 4. So as you guys are coming on in, hey, go ahead and give me a quick little tap and let's see what goes on. So we're just going to be going over some general math questions and just try to figure out, are you okay? And then I give you some explanation as to why is the answer it is. Okay? So we have that first one. We're going to continue on from what we did last week. So Donald earns 8% of the selling price of each house he sells. If he sells a house for $152,000, how much did he earn? Okay, how much did he earn? You really need this? Not a problem. Here we go. So PupDad88 is saying the answer is A. Any other answers out here? And remember, if there is ever a question you're just like, I don't know where to start, you don't have to type out, I don't know where to start. You can just put a question mark in the chat. So that kind of gives me an idea of like, all right, let me see how much detail do I need to go into? Or do I just say, okay, the answer is boom, and then I keep it moving. Okay, so if I even see one question mark, that speaks volumes to me. All right. Okay, so if you're just like, let me think about this, Audrey, let me process it. Okay, go ahead and process it. But remember, with some of these tests, a lot of them are timed. So roughly it's between a minute and 5 seconds, or some test questions is like at most a minute and 12 seconds. So around that time. So if you're doing practice yourself, remember, give yourself like a minute. See how much you do. If you're catching on a lot earlier, a lot sooner, that will be awesome as well. Okay. Is it Gerbil is saying, or Gerbil is saying 15,200 times 0.8. Okay. I got my nope to the 4th power saying A. Okay, yep. Got some filtered terms in here. What kind of nastiness you guys are putting in here? Okay. And then we got Roro with a B. All right, Colin with an A. Thank you so much, guys, for coming on in. I greatly appreciate it. Jen, Jedi. Welcome on in, saying A. Then we have David with a B. Okay. Nope. 4. Nope. I see you with your A. I see you. Okay. Myers with an A. Hey, Big Al. Hello. All right. So your answer is A. Okay. Now, this is what happens. You have 152,000, and you have to change this percent to a decimal. So if you change it to a decimal, so this is what it looks like. I'm going to put it over here. So you have your 8%. So you're going to start just where that percentage sign is, and you're going to move over 1, 2 to put your decimal point. And put a 0 for the filler and a 0 for the lead. Okay, the reason why I'm moving it 2 places because we're talking about 100%. 100% has 2 zeros. So we're going to multiply this by 0.08. So I know I got these 3 zeros, so why not focus right here? Why not multiply that section right there? So you got 8 times 2 gives me 16, carry the 1. 8 times 5, that gives me 40 plus 1, that's 41. 8 times 1 gives me 8 plus 4 gives me my 12. And then zeros. 1, 2, 3. My 3 zeros, sorry. But that 0.08 or that 800ths, that's 2 decimal places. So that means my answer has to be 2 decimal places. So that means my decimal point is going to be right here. So that's how I got 12,160. All right. There we go. Thank you, Jaden, for that 41. Thank you. All right. So now for the next bit. How many millimeters are there in 25 centimeters? Okay. So how many millimeters are there in 25 centimeters? Okay, thank you for the love. Float freely. I appreciate it. Okay. Thank you, Cynthia. Heart. All right. So first things first. I'm the realist. No, I'm not. We need to know a couple things. All I can remember in my little childhood is 1 centimeter is 10 millimeters. Okay. That helps me a little bit because then I could, set up my proportion. So if you have 1 centimeter is going to equal 10 millimeters, so we want to know how many 25 centimeters is going to equal into how many millimeters. So that's what they're asking. There you go. Is that ding whittle? Witty. Okay. So if 1 centimeter is 10 millimeters, so 1 times 10 gives me 10. So 25 centimeters will give me how many millimeters? So 25 times 10 gives me 250. I looked at the pattern here. I carried that pattern down here. Okay, so that will give me my 250 millimeters. Okay, you're going to do, this is basically called a proportion. Okay, if I wanted to, I could set it up as a fraction. So I could say 1 centimeter is 10 millimeters. And then we're saying, all right, well, 25 centimeters equals my unknown. Okay, this is called a proportion. Hello, lovey. Oh, my cat wants to be famous. Okay, nice and easy. All right, so what you could is do cross multiplication. When it's equals, you can cross multiply. Or you can look at the pattern. How do I go from 1 to 25? I multiply by 25. So if I multiply 25 here, I can also multiply 25 here to get my 250. Okay. Thank you, Hal, because I'm wondering. All right, thank you for your... Because earlier today I was wondering if he was still listening. I don't know why I do this to myself every year. I do. Okay. So now, we have a plan for a house is drawn at a 1 to 40 scale. If the length of the living room on the plane measures 4.5 inches, okay, 4.5 inches, what is the actual length of the built living room? Let me give you a moment to savor. Okay, maybe you're saying D. Your name is Old Dusty Taco. You are hilarious. Like, literally, you're walking on this earth with that as your name. Okay. All right. All right. That was a choice. That was a choice. Sing saying 15. Okay. We have our darkness saying A, maybe. Okay. You're saying C, which is our 15. Okay. Big Al. Okay. All right. So you're saying 1 to 40 is 1 2/5. Okay. So I have another person with C. Is it Tani? Ramon? You have no idea. It's C. Okay. So it's D. Hensley is saying C. Okay, Miss Taylor says C for 15. Okay, so I'm pushing. Seems like there's a push of C's, couple D's. All right. Let's take a look. So we know that the plan for the house is already 1 to 40. Okay, and this is another way that you can put it. Then they said this is drawn to that scale. So if the length of the room on the plans, so that means we're still looking at our scale, so measures 4.5 inches. So it's usually going to be length to width. So if we're looking at 4.5, I think it might be the other way, but let me take a look. Let me play around with it because I think. So then I would do my multiplying. All depends on the left. No, I think it's the other way around. So if it's 1 to 40, it's going to be our unknown to 40. So we're making it smaller. So the plans of that, yeah, we're making that smaller because that did not make any sense. So then what's the actual length of the building of the living room? So we're taking like 1/4 of. But if we take 1/4 of that, 40th, so sorry, of that 4.5 inches. What is the actual length of the living room? Okay. So that'll be 1/80 inches, and then we have to take our inches and put it into feet. There we go. I did not see that my answer needs to be in feet. That's why I'm hesitating. Because I'm like, wait, how? Okay. All right. So when I multiply, I was right. It's not up here. Okay. So when I do my multiplication, I have my 40 times my 4.5. So 40 times 4.5, that's going to give me 180. And then I was like, wait, what? But I forgot. This is in inches. My answers are all in feet. So how many inches are in a foot? That's 12 inches. So that means if I take this 180 and I divide it by 12, I'm going to get it in feet. And that gives me 15 feet. Okay. Okay, so if we're talking about our length, so our length will be our numerator. We do our cross multiplying. That's where we get the 180. But then that 180 is representing the inches. But they want to know what is it in feet. So that would be my C for 15 feet. Okay. I had to think for a second. Because at first I'm like, I'm getting 180, and how come? But I forgot to switch it over. But we figured it out. Okay. 21. So we need to add those up. We actually don't have to do the whole entire thing. What would be my answer? A, B, C, or D? Okay, is this on the ASVAB? Yes, it is. This especially is going to be in the reasoning part. And this is like considered like a 1-point question for GED as well. Okay, so we got our D, we got our D, we got a D, we got a D, we got a king with a C, we got triggered with a D. Okay, big L with a D. Okay, unearthing with bees. Okay, Sharon with an A. Okay. Okay, Melina. Hey, welcome back. With a D. Molly with a D. So we got to take a look. It all depends on how you line things up. So if you notice, when you're adding decimals, you have to line up your decimal places. So even if you have your 2.34, you have to line up the 23.4, and then you have 234. Okay, you have to line up your decimal places. Now we know that the last digit, which is usually the first one, that's going to be 4. So right away I'm looking at my answer choices. I can get rid of A and B because they don't end in 4. Now I got 3 plus 4, that gives me 7. And I can also drop down that decimal. Well, both of these end with 74. So now I come here, 2 plus 3, that gives me 5. 5 plus 4, that gives me 9. So my answer has to be D. Okay. If you're a classroom student, yeah, follow all the way through. But if you're taking the GED, the ASVAB, the ACCUPLACER, if you can get the beginning portions, you can do POE, P-O-E, process of elimination. So you know the first digit is going to be 4. Then you do 3 plus 4 gives me 7. Okay, it's between two answers now. Now I just add the 2, the 3, and the 4. That gives me 9. Boom, my answer is D. They are not going to be like, oh, unless that had a 9 as well, continue on. Okay. And you're probably like, it only takes a few more seconds just to complete it. True. But those few more seconds adds up. And then all of a sudden you're going to get a word problem that looks like part of the Declaration of Independence. And all they're saying is, what's the y-intercept? And you sat there and you read the whole thing and you wasted a whole lot of time with that. Okay? All right. The number 4 is 20% of what number? The number 4 is 20% of what number? Okay, thank you so much for the follows, guys, and sharing the lives and everything. Okay? Because if you're thinking about taking your GED, you're thinking about taking or want to improve on your ASVAB score, because I've had people just doing these little tweaks go from like a 23 or a 32, and I've seen them go into 60s and going up to the 70s because their confidence gets built up. Okay? So you're saying 20? Okay? Nope. Says 20. Derek says 20. Kev says 20. Okay? And if you're not sure, remember, you do have the question mark. Okay? All right, Nicole's saying 5. Amanda's saying 20. Nettie started saying 5. Big Al's not sure. Thank you for your honesty. Okay, T. Woody says duh. Okay. And I see here, is that Sing saying 20? Okay, T. Wood says 5. Charlie says 8. All right, let's take a look at it. So it says the number 4, okay, is, which means equals, 20%. So 20% as a decimal, 0.20. Of means multiplication. What number? Since we don't know what it is, that's X. Okay. So we're basically trying to figure out what that number is. So since this is multiplication, we can do the inverse. So the inverse of multiplication is division. So you have your 0.2 or 0.20. Okay. And for the HESI, I know you guys can use your scientific calculators. Whereas GED, ACCUPLACER, ASVAB, you can't use a calculator. Okay. All right. There might be certain problems. They might be able to connect Desmos too, just like what they're doing with the SATs. That's why the SATs are not in 2 sections of math anymore. It's just one big section. And there's less problems and less time. Okay. All right. So 20%. So 20%, I know for me, I would switch it as like a fraction. So 20% is like this equivalent of like, say, 1/5. Oh, sorry. Don't know why I put a 2. I meant to put a 5. So for me to divide a fraction just seems weird. So what you could do is like multiply it by its reciprocal, which is 5/1. So now I got 4 times 0.5, which gives me 20. Okay, so 0.20 or 20%, that's 20 out of 100. So if we know 20 out of 100, I can cancel out the last 2 zeros. So that means I'm looking at 20 out of 10. 20 or 2 out of 10. So 2 out of 10 can be reduced to 1/5. So if you're wondering where did that 1/5 came from, that's where it came from. So instead of dividing by the fraction, you're actually dividing by its reciprocal. Just have to flip the 1 and the 5. That's how I got the 5/1. That's the way that you did it? Yeah. Sometimes fractions makes it so much easier than decimals. Why are we doing math on a Sunday? Well, you're back. You know why we're doing math on a Sunday. Today is my birthday, believe it or not. And right now, other than the live that I had earlier today, it's been pretty much shite. Yeah. So we still got time. We still got time to turn it around. And I think it's going to start here with you guys. All right. Thank you so much, everyone. Okay. It's not Sunday, it's Saturday. Yeah. I go live every blessed day. All right, so now let's add and simplify. Let's see if I can make it a lot bigger so you can see it, because sometimes these fractions are a little hard to read. Okay, so we have 4 2/3. Let me write it here. So 4 2/3 plus 6 1/2. Okay, 4 2/3. I know it's a very interesting looking 4. 4 2/3 plus 6 1/2. What do we get? Yep, today is Saturday. Okay, not a problem, Janie. All right, Renee, keep going, keep it going. Yes, Sharon, we need a common denominator. Good, and what is it? And you're saying it's 6. Excellent. Thank you, Lise. Appreciate it. Johanna saying A, Diamond B. Okay, Renee Boss is saying 6. Yes, that's our denominator. Keep it going. Castro is saying A. Leo saying B. Portilla is saying A. Okay, the LCD is 6. Yes, it is. Keep it going. Okay, Marvelli. Hello, Marvelli. Saying A. Okay, are we doing A factorial, Nate, or are we just saying A is the answer? Because that's how I read it. I'm sorry. I'm not trying to be a wise ass. I'm just... Well, not right now. Maybe in the next few seconds, but not right now. Be on the HESI. Yep, that's what we're reviewing. G, that's what we're reviewing. These are the type of questions that will be on your HESI. Okay. So you guys get a lot of proportions. You guys get a lot of going from decimals to percents, percents to fractions, fractions to percents. You guys see a lot of that on your assessment. Ain't got no kids. What's having kids have to do with math? Thank you, Marvelly. I appreciate it. Okay, Prince, you're saying it's D. All right, so let's take a gander. All right, first off, we have our 4 2/3 and our 6 1/2. Let's change them to improper fractions. Let's make our lives a little bit easier. And if we have to put it back into a mixed number, we can do that. All right, so it's 4 times 3, that's 12, plus 2, that gives us 14. So we got 14/3, plus 2 times 6, that's 12, plus 1, that's 13. And it's always over your original denominator, which is 2. So now we need a lowest common denominator with 3 and 2. So I know with 3, I have 3, 6, 9, 12. And for 2, you have 2, 4, 6, 8. So the lowest number that they both have in common is going to be 6. So we got to think. How do I make this 3 into a 6? I had to multiply it by 2. Whatever I do in the denominator, I have to do in the numerator. So 14 times 2, that gives me 28. Okay. So now I got to do the same with this 2. So 2 times 3 gives me this 6. Whatever I do in the denominator, I have to do in its numerator. So 13 times 3, that gives me 39. Okay. So now we have a common denominator. We don't do anything with the denominator except for to bring it over. But we're going to combine our numerators. So 16 and 7, that's 67 over 6. Now, if we notice, we don't have any any improper fractions. We got mixed numbers and a whole number. So last time I checked, 67 divided by 6 does not give me 9. Okay, so 6 times 9, that gives me the 54. So that's not going to work for D. So let's do the division. 67 divided by 6. How many 6s can go into 6? Well, there's 1. How many 6s can go into 7? Well, there's 1. So we have 66. 67 minus 66 will give me 1. So as a mixed number, we got the whole number of 11. We have a remainder of 1 over our divisor of 6. So our answer is going to be 11 and 1/6, which is A. Okay. There we go. Job, right? Good, Kai. Good. Did you know we're told our district to no longer say improper fraction? Cindy, I'm telling you. I want to laugh to keep from crying because soon enough, I'm not going to have a voice. I'm not going to have a voice. So this is how I feel. Until they personally stop me, I'm going to say it the way I can say it. I don't know. And it's like, what are they going to say? Top heavy? Boobylicious fractions? What are we doing? Fraction greater than 1. Oh. How drove of them. Okay. It's an easy question when you round up the fraction. It could only be 11. That's true. That's true. I taught improper fractions, so it's hard to say. Yeah, I know, because it's engraved in our head. That's what we know. And then the weird part, Cindy, next week, it'll be something different. We all know it's education. It's September, right? So we all know that by, I want to say, mid-October, or whenever you have your professional developments, all of a sudden they're like, yeah, well, we're not going to call it that anymore. And next thing you know, before you know it, you'll be saying improper fraction again by May. It's insanity, right? It's complete insanity. So I understand. I get it. What would I say then? I would play I'm gonna play the improper fraction game until, but if they want me to say something funny, I'll be like, all right, boob heavy. The kids will remember it. They'll totally remember it. Okay, who's got the boob heavy fraction? It's those little things that they're like, she's my favorite teacher ever. Oh, because I said boob. It's weird. I used to teach high school, so that's why. All right. So, here we go. Tamison? Okay. Bought 20 stamps for 29 cents each and 40 stamps for 42 cents each. If she gave the postal worker $25, how much change did she receive? Okay. I know it sounds like a basic answer, and I love when people are like, when are we ever going to use this ever in our life? I'm like, making change? Every blessed day? All right. So Kayla's got A. Bow, wow, wow. Bow, wow. Bow, wow, bow. Okay. Saying A. Jenny. How are you, Jenny? Saying A. Okay. It's A. All right. Good. Let's see what everyone else got. All right. I'm doing better because I'm with you guys. This whole thing is garbage. Okay. All right, so we got A. Hey, there's Kayla. I was wondering when I'm going to see you, girl. Okay, so she's got her A. Okay, it's easy. It's A. See, here's my thing. It may be easy for you, but there's a lot of people. Okay, there's a lot of people that will struggle with this. This is just basically making change. Let me put an example for you. I went to one of my local Safeways. There was a gentleman in front of me. His amount was $11.29. 11 something. The guy gave her a 20. She looked at it and the change thing wasn't working. And she said, oh, the change thing's not working. Do you have the change? He was like, just break the 20. I'll take care of the change. And literally the girl cried. And she was like high school age. She was relatively young. High school, probably early 20s. So this may be easy, but there are some people out here that this is a struggle. Okay? So we got to take that into account. So Jason's saying A, T Woody's saying C. Antonio is saying C. Danielle saying D. Okay, Juan saying A. Juan Diego, welcome back, Juan. All right, so let's take a look. Okay, Tyler's with A. Anthony A. Okay, J A. Okay. I try. I try, Mick. All right, so here we are. We have 20 of those stamps for 29 cents. All right. Then we have 40 of these stamps at 42 cents. All right. So we want to know. We got our 0. We got 9 and 2. That's 18. 2 and 0, we got our 0. 2 and 2 is 4. Add those together, and it's supposed to be 2 decimal places. So you have $5.80. That's just with the 20 stamps at 29 cents. Now doing the 40 stamps at 42 cents. 2 and 0, that's 0. 4 and 2 is 8. 4 and 0, that's 0. 4 and 4 is 16. Add these two together, I got 0, 8, and my 1, 16. 2 decimal places, so that means my decimal point is going to be right here. All right, so we know that $25 was given. And we want to make sure that whatever that 580 plus the 1680 gets combined. So this, we got 25 minus $22.60. So just thinking about it, 60 cents. When you're giving someone change, you're kind of rounding up, you're going up. So how can I make the 60 cents into $1? Is because I add 40 cents. Okay, so if I add 40 cents, so that means this is how much is owed to me. They gave me $25. I'm gonna count up to 25. So let's me. They gave me $25. I'm gonna count up to 25. So let's get. Sorry, phone call. I think you guys are back, right? So if it's going to be 40 cents that I'm going to give them, the only thing that gives me 40 cents is my A. Okay? So if I round up to 40 cents, that'll be $1. So that'll take you to 23. Then another $2. 23, another $1, 24, another $1.25. Okay. We're so tough. We are. Okay. So that's really how you kind of make change. This part, the computer is going to do for you. But they're just going to say, all right, you owe $22.60. But of course, when there's a line, and Safeway, there's only 2 lanes open. So, and when the line is long, it's really not my job to be like, let me show you how to make change. But I started making videos for that. There's a couple of them on TikTok. All right. So you just basically round up. Yep. All right. 25. Let's go with my military people and my nurses. Convert military time to regular time. What is this in military time? Is it going to be AM or PM? That's the first thing you should be looking at. Okay, Bow Wow. Bow is saying A. Jenny saying A. Jasmine saying A. Big Al, A. You're still doing math today? Yup. 3 hours ago. Yes. But this is a different one. Go celebrate, Queen. Yeah, I tried to do that earlier and it turned out to be crap. So, but this is my happy place. But thank you. Janie saying A. T Woods, A. There we go. Marvelly, A. Chick, A. David, A. K, A. Sharon, A. It's definitely the AM. Yes, some more. You're funny. A. Jazz, A. Gloria, B. Sammy saying 7:05 a.m. This is the HESI, so it's like that entry level for trying to get into like nursing. All right, thank you for the birthday thing. I Heart USA, that's A. Kayla, A. Good. Alfredo saying C. B. Let's go. Here we go. Once you get a 0, that means AM. Okay, anytime you see a 0, not a 1, not a 2, okay, that's the AM. So right away, B is out and D is out. And you read it just like you would, regular time. So it's going to be 7:05. Okay, so if you start dating someone that's in the military and you say, hey, just pick me up at 8 o'clock, and they're like, wait, what? 8 o'clock in the morning? Like, you got to break it down. They're like, pick me up at 20. 100 hours or something like that, okay? Yep, anything after 13, that's when you're going to start adding. After 12. So 13, 1 o'clock will be, 1 o'clock in the afternoon will be 13. 2 o'clock is going to be 14. 3 o'clock is going to be 15, and so on. All right? All right, so here we are. So Teresa begins collecting baseball cards exactly 8 months ago, and in that time she collected 144 cards on average. How many baseball cards has she collected per month? Okay, so I'm seeing C. Oh, wait, no. He switched it to D. Okay, we're dividing. Kayla's saying C. We got a whoops. We got an 18. Sammy's saying 18. 18 is C. G is saying C. Hey, Janice. Never mind. You're not dumb. Stop it. We got B's. Jazz, we got C. Sammy got 18 with a C. Janie, 18. David with a B. Jasmine with a C. Captain Liz. C. Antonio, 18. Leah, 18. Is that Niso? With a C. Ashley with C. You're not dumb. Stop it. Okay. Yeah, with a C, and 18. Awesome. Okay, Jen, you're saying B. My goodness. Beating yourselves up. All right, so if we think about it, okay, we got 144 cards. Okay, been collecting for 8 months. So for 8 months, we want to kind of look at on the average. All right, so we got that 144. We divided by the 8 months. So we can see how many cards they got in 1 month. Just regular division. How many 8s can go into 14? That's 1. Oh, no, not in 14. Whoa. Yeah, in 14, that's 1. So I'm thinking 2 in my crazy head. So then you do your 14 minus your 8, and then you get your 6 left over. You bring down the 4. So 64. How many 8s can go into 64? That will be 8. So your answer is 18. If you can't see it this way, you can do it this way. Okay? All right. Okay. So roll time. Can we put a please with that? Hey, Apple user, how are you? Yeah, we're all about manners around here. I know we had some home training. I know Big Mama's usually in the club right now. Can you explain again? I can. Please or thank you, one of the two. Okay. Okay, we all have some home training. I know Big Mama's in the club nowadays, but the real Big Mama with the bent slippers humming in the kitchen. You're so welcome. All right. So we had 144 cards, and it took Teresa exactly 8 months to collect those. So all we're doing is dividing these two to get our 18. So if you can't see it this way, your numerator goes underneath the division sign. The 8 goes on the outside. So how many 8s can go into 14? 1. Okay, because 8 times 2 is 16. That's too much. So 14 minus 8 will give us 6. Bring down the next number. So instead of a 6, we're looking at 64. So how many 8s can go into 64? Exactly 8. Because 8 times 8 gives us that 64. And that's how we got our answer of 18. Okay. Do I do ACT practice? Yes, I do. Okay. That one I do for a charge. Okay. All right. So what is 70% of 110? What is 70% of 110? Okay, Roro's saying A. Alina is saying A for 77. Let's see, to make this a little bit bigger. Okay, so our blank space is 77. User 2941 saying A. Mr. Jinglesworth saying 77. Antonio saying B, 77. B or 77? Okay, Jazz is saying 77. Kim A. Juan A. K A. Jenny A. Big Al A. Black Love Goddess. Look at you. Go ahead, girl. With an A. Hassan saying D. Jasmine A. Let us see how it's solved. I'll wait. Aw. Okay. There's an A. Okay, some repeats. Forever Blessed A. J77. T. Woody A. Okay, I'm guessing B. Okay, 10 saying 77. Milo A. Natalie C. Rob A. Okay, so then, okay, Anna saying A. All right, and a few repeats. So let's take a look. What is, so we don't know, that's my unknown, is equals 70%, so 70% as a decimal is 0.70 or 0.7 of, which is multiplication of 110. Okay? So basically, you're multiplying 110 with your 0.7s. So if you come over, you have your 110. Basically, you got 0.70. So that's going to be 2 decimal places. Okay, so you have your 0. Then 7 times 0 gives you 0. And the 7 times 1 gives you 7 for both occasions. Now it's 2 decimal places. So 1, 2, your decimal place is going to be between the last 7 and the 0, which gives you an answer of 77. Okay, and you can do it that way as well, Flex. Yes, you can. Yep. That's all it is. All right. Now, let's divide. So 5,177 divided by 31. Why am I lining up the 7 there? I'm just putting the 0.70 there. Okay. Thank you, Michael. Hope you're having an awesome trip. Would you not subtract? No, you don't have to subtract anything. Okay. Oh, we got a Libra boy. All right, so we got whole bunch of D's. Okay. Why did you multiply 2? You don't multiply 2. 2 is to tell you what your space is. How many decimal places you're going to need. Just stop to get some food. Okay. All right. Hopefully you're having a good travel. Okay. So Big Al with the D, Janie with the D, Nancy with a C, Smore with a D. Okay. Alba, you're back with a D. Jenny with a D. Okay. Thanks for the follow, Libra. Okay, Spare Bird is saying with a D. Hensley with a D. You probably said something earlier. Okay. So if you want to, you could do some rounding and guesstimate roughly where you're going to be. Well, I noticed right away all of them is going to have 1s. But then I start seeing the difference with the second factor. So if I do... I have my 5,170. All right, so we want to know how many 31s can go into 51. That's 1. So that gives me my 20. Bring down my 1. That gives me my 201. So obviously, 0 is not going to play into it, because we can definitely find a number multiplied by 31 to get me close to 201. So it's not going to be a 0, so A's out. Okay. It's definitely going to be more than 1, so B's out. And if I multiply by 3, that's going to give me a 93. We can probably go higher than that. So if I go with a 6, that gives me 186. So D has to be my answer. Okay. So you don't have to exactly something, and that was good enough for me. Exactly. You know, you can do some rounding if you wanted to. You could have rounded to like 30 and then 5,000. If you wanted to do that and see what will get relatively close to where we're at, that's fine. But remember, if you're not in a class, like if this is supposed to be for GED, ASVAB, the HESI, all those type of assessments from A to Z, you don't have to do all the work. They don't care about this. They care about, did you pick A, B, C, or D? All right? So that will save you some extra time with those problems that you feel that you have to read the whole entire thing. Yep. Okay. Cut to the chase, because a lot of you guys, when you take these assessments, even the SATs and the ACTs, any of those assessments, what happens is you lose a lot of time because you're like, oh, I got my answer and my answer's right here, but let me play around with this answer some more. No, you got it. Bubble it, click it, move on. Just, you know. So that's what we do. We do like a mini celebration, and that's causing you time. All right, so I have time for possibly 2, maybe 3 more, okay? And then we're going to wrap this up. All right, so we got Gus making chili. Sounds pretty good. Calls for 3 parts beans to 5 parts ground beef. If he's using 8 cups of ground beef for a big family dinner, how many cups of beans will Gus need? Is it A? Is it B? Is it C? Is it D? Give yourself a moment. Get past the fact that it's after lunch and you want some chili. Okay, Hi is saying B. Ashley is saying B. Fidel saying B. Deanna saying A. Okay, that's all right, Kay. But see, let me show you how we break it down. And then soon enough, you're going to be like, all right, I think I got it. Okay. All right, so user 5126 saying D. Nope, saying D. Big Al's crying. Why are you crying? Samora's got A. Colin C. Would it be fractions? Yes. You could set it up as proportions. Okay? A proportion is basically 2 fractions equal to each other. Robin saying A. Janie D. Okay, a couple follows. Thank you, guys. Whoop. 123 saying C. Okay, Molly saying A. Shells, how are you? Saying C. Sharon saying A. Will is saying D. Okay, we got a nice little mixture here. Okay, Maxiana saying A. All right, let's take a look. So we have 3 parts beans, 5 parts ground beef. Okay, so if I were to set this up, I could write it as a proportion as 3 to 5, like that. Or I can set it up as 3 over 5. Okay, these two things mean the same thing. Okay, but they're giving us some information. They're saying that there's 8 cups of ground beef. So remember, the top is the beans. Okay, this is your beans. It was beans to beef ratio. So that means down here in the denominator, that is going to be your beef. So they're telling us we got 8 cups of those bad boys. So they want us to know how many beans is Gus going to need. All right. Hello. From the Caribbean. Lovely. How are you, Liverpool? How's it going? So, cross multiply. Anytime you have an equal sign, you can cross multiply. Some people like to call it fairy wings. Some people like to call it butterfly wings. Whatever rocks your boat, people. So basically what's happening is you have 5 times your unknown, because it's kind of hard to do our little trick. Okay? So 5 times my unknown equals 3 times 8, which gives me 24. So when I do my division of 5 on both sides, okay, how many 5s can go into 24? Well, 5 is too much because 5 times 5 gives us 25. 4, it's not even, so that means I know B is done, A is done, because 3.8 is way too low. It's either going to be 4.6 or 4.8. So now when I actually do the division, we know 4 is going to be our whole number. After we do our subtraction of 20, because 4 times 5 gives us 20, we have 4 left over. So we need to know what 4/5 is going to be. But since they're giving us decimals, put a decimal, add a 0, bring down the 0. So how many 5s can go into 40? That would be exactly 8. Okay, I like to do things by hand because, yes, for the HESI, you can use your scientific calculator. But for the GED, the ASVAB, ACCUPLACER, you can't use a calculator. So that's why I try to do a lot of things by hand to accommodate for so many. So your answer for this one is going to be D. Okay. Yep. And you can divide the 8 and the 5 and then multiply by 3. You can do that as well. Okay. All right. Okay. Let's try 2 more. Let's build up our confidence. Let's build it up. All right. Thanks, Hal. I try. So, 98, put it that way. So 98 is 175% of what number? Okay, I'm going to let you go with this one. If you got the answer, go ahead and put it in the chat. So 98 is 125% of what number? Unfamous, this is for the HESI assessment for nursing. Okay, so it's not really a particular grade, but a lot of this stuff is used for GED. A lot of this stuff is used for algebra, okay, and even basic math, okay. All right. Now, if you're just coming in and you're like, oh, I wish I was there for the beginning of this, this is going to be recorded, or this is being recorded, okay? I will show you after we finish these next 2 problems where you can go. And if you don't want to wait for that, you can go to the Service Plus. There's a button at the bottom. If you click on Service Plus, you got a YT channel that you can go, and you can just click on that and it should take you straight there. Okay. The jokester in school said the GED. So we're getting some A's, we got some D's, I'm getting some 56s. Okay, Jenny's saying D, Molly's saying D. How do you solve 30? Okay, I'm going to show you, Princess. Not a problem. Okay, I'm seeing A. I'm seeing 56, which will be letter D. On Nikita, it's like I did 0.98 divided by 175. Okay. Good. Well, that's what a jokester wants to say. That's what a jokester wants to say. We don't know what everyone's situation is. Some people have to grow up before their time. And that means they had to put their education on the back seat while their younger siblings got their education. So, and the fact that people are willing to go back to get their education, I don't know about you, but I'm proud of them. Okay, Jasmine B, Sandra D, Jacob, I see with your double B's. Jose D, it's Takira with a D. Okay, that's you. Yep, I'm proud of you. Because trust me, I know. Want to go back, you're turning 50? Hey, I just turned 53 today. It's never too late. I used to suck at math, and now look at me. I'm on TikTok teaching math. What the hell's that? How that happened? Completed your 12th grade. Good. I'm telling you, Alba, I appreciate you. Good. All right. You need your GED. We got this. So let's solve. So they're saying 98, boom, is, which is equals. Now, we need to change this 175% to a decimal. Our decimal place is starting right next to the 5. We're moving over 1, 2 spaces. So that means it's 1.75. Okay? It's not going to be 0.175 because 0.175, that's thousandths. We need hundreds. So we have to move it over 2 decimal places to the left. of, which means multiplication, what number? We don't know. Okay? So we're going to divide both sides by 1.75. Okay? Now, if you're trying to do long division, this is when it gets hairy scary. So, actually, I wouldn't even do long division. Yeah, I would just simply divide this. If they ever give you something like this in GED, very rarely, you cannot have a decimal as your divisor. You have to make it into a whole number. So that means I have to move this over 2 decimal places, and that means I need to add 2 zeros over here and the decimal place. So you're actually, and I'm going to put it on this little sheet right here, you're actually looking at 175 being divided by 9,800. Let me put the decimal there. So we want to know how many 175. So I'm taking a look at my answer choices. I got 4s and I got 5s. But it looks like there's more 5s than 4s. So that's telling me, that's giving me a little hint. Okay? So if we're looking at that 175 times 5, that's 35, 37. This is 875. That's a heck of a lot closer than 175 times 4. So I got my 875, subtracting. So I'm going to borrow from this 8. So that makes this 5. This will be a 0. This will be a 1. Okay? Bring down that next 0. So then, since we do not, and these are little hints that they're giving us in the universe here. Since we don't see any decimals, let's play around with some numbers. So we know what 175 is going to be 875. So obviously, we got rid of the 8. We got rid of the B. We got rid of the C. It's got to be our D. Because let's take a look. 175 times 6. Okay, there's my 30. There's my 0. Then we have 42. That's 45. Carry the 4. 6 and 1, that's 6 plus 4 gives me 10. And that's what we're looking for. Okay? So, of course, once I realize it's a 6, boom, that's it. Mark my answer, keep it moving. Let's move on. Okay? Okay? Well, here's the thing, Wow. When you're taking a test, you can't use ChatGPT, bruh. Okay? Yep, you can do that as well. And then divide by the 175. Okay? There's multiple ways of getting it, people. Multiple ways. All right. Last one, and then we're done. All right. Express 7/4 as a decimal. What is 7/4 as a decimal? So remember, Violet, when you're going from a percentage to a decimal, move your decimal place over 2 places to the left, regardless. It's always going to be out of 100. Okay, it's always going to be out of 100. So I got some A's, Mama Slade C, Violet C, Jasmine C, Yaya C, okay, Janie C, Jeremy C, Gabriel E, double L C, user 2941 C, Jewel C, Armando C, Macabella. How can I rewatch this? I'm going to tell you in a moment. Okay, Milena, C. Bernie, C. Alba, C. Big Al, C. The answer is the one that's correct. Bing bong. User 8230 C. Hal C. Sharon C. This is heavy for 4 a.m. in the morning. Oh yeah. Dead fine. Don't rematch. This is trash. Don't rematch this? Yeah, why would I rematch anything? Jenny is with a C. Okay, we got our B's. Tennessee. Okay. Test square C. Okay. All right, you already picked D, so try C. Okay, yeah, all right. So all you're doing is simple division. So you got your 4 divided by your 7. How many 4s can go into 7? That's 1. Do your subtraction. That's 3. Notice all your answers are decimals. So that's when you know you can add your zeros. So instead of a 3, now it's a 30. So how many 4s can go into 30? That will give me my 7, because that's 28. So just by doing that, I'm looking, boom, answer is C. Okay, you could keep going, that's fine. But when you're taking those standardized testing, you don't have to do all your work. They're not looking at that other piece of paper. We basically recycle it. AKA, we're chucking it in a bin, okay? Right? We're not submitting that. They don't want that. They want us to collect it just in case you want to take the answer or a question home and show it off to somebody like, oh, this is the question. Okay? All right. So, here we go. Thank you, Ma. Appreciate this. Okay, so if anything, if you go to the Service Plus, you will see everything that is needed, okay? But if you want to, I don't know where that paper went. Oh, here it is. Okay, but if you need any of the replays, okay, all of my TikTok replays, if you go here, and you go here, zoom in a little bit. Okay, so if you go here, you type in this. You can take a screenshot of it if you want. Okay, if you can do all 5 of those, that will be awesome. And you will actually see that there is a playlist that says TikTok Lives. Okay, all of my lives since February 2nd is there. Just ready to go. And the next time that I will be going live, because I'm not going live tonight, I'm going to see if this birthday can turn around somehow. And I should know better, because my birthdays always suck. The day before my birthday is always like, ooh, this is so amazing. And then the actual day of my birthday is terrible. Even when I was 14. I think that was the last time I had a Saturday birthday that I can remember. And my parents totally forgot it. I went downstairs and I was like, hey, Mom, do you know what today is? She was like, Saturday. And she was doing laundry. And I'm like, yeah, it is, but it's my birthday. Oh, my God. You would have thought that someone just passed away. She was like, oh, my God, I'm so sorry. So it was a crazy year. And ever since then, it always rained on my birthday. And what is it doing? It's raining on my birthday. That's what happens. It's just me. I don't know if it's a gift of God or a curse from Satan. We'll see what happens. So the next time that I will be on is going to be tomorrow at 11 a.m. See, I get up early for you guys. And we're going to be doing stuff for ASVAB. Okay. And also that evening, we're flipping around. We're going to be doing something for college algebra. So, but definitely the ASVAB at 11 a.m. Eastern Standard Time. Okay, so come on in. We're going to be working on some problems, and I'm thinking about working on the medium and the hard algebra problems. So if you have, ASVABs for Dummies, which I hate the name of that book, but I feel like the test questions, as I keep hearing, was very closely mimicking what the actual test is. So if you understand and how to break those concepts down, we can take it and run with it. All right. All right. So for the college algebra, I'm looking at the same time, like around 2 p.m. I know it's football season, but, are they paying you or are you paying them? There we go. And we'll just try to do it for like an hour and 15, and then we'll be done. Okay. All right, everyone. Thank you, Diana. Thank you, everyone. Okay. Not a problem. Not a problem. Nope. And if you ever want to do like a financial little donation or a tip, there is a link. I don't care. Go ahead. Just check my bio. just check it out. Just check it out. If you want to. If not, that's perfectly fine. All right. So have a great rest of your day. I will hopefully see you guys tomorrow evening. Please stay safe. Don't get yourself into anything because I sure as hell do not have bail money. All right. Whoa. Wait, hold on. I say thank you because you helped me so much. You passed your GED, Ma? Oh, wait, before I go, can we all celebrate Lou Mom for a moment? Can we forget my birthday? Thank you, Big Al. I appreciate it. But can we celebrate Ma for a moment on the huge congratulations, passing her GED? Yes! Okay, pure dedication. She comes to all my lives. She watches my videos. She will make a great stalker one day. No, I'm just kidding. But, that's what it's about, guys. That's what it's about. And if any of you guys need tutoring, my kids are doing awesome. So I do private tutoring, and we can also do small group tutoring. If you're thinking about getting your GED, you're like, I don't know if I can. I create courses. So the way that I teach here is exactly the way that I teach on the courses. My videos are not 5 minutes long. They're a good 20 minutes long. And some of them you can actually pause. You can fast forward, you can rewind, and then you can do some work on your own and then push play to double check your answers. There's quizzes on there. There's practice sheets on there. It's 107 videos, so it really digs deep. So if you haven't started and you need a place to start, or if you're like, I always want to be good at math and you didn't have a place to go, this will be a great spot for you, the Foundations to Algebra, because every standardized test does algebra, okay? And I break it down from the types of numbers that we have all the way up to like radical functions. Okay? Yes. All right, I will. Okay, guys, have a great rest of your day, and I'll let you know tomorrow how mine went. Don't worry, I'm keeping my ass in, so I don't feel like getting arrested, pulled over, any of that foolishness. Okay? All right, talk to you later. Take care. Bye now. Uber.